If I tell you that huge companies like Microsoft and Google have been spying on you by accessing the cameras of the mobile phones we use, would you believe it? This only came to light after a former NSA employee named Snowden exposed a massive project undertaken by America to the whole world. For example, look at Mark Zuckerberg's laptop. He has covered the camera with a small piece of tape. So just think about it. Why would the owner of such a huge company like Facebook need to cover his laptop camera? Because he knows that in America they can access his laptop camera and watch him. So all our mobile phones are really being spied on? How he discovered this? Who is this Snowden? Also America, who marks Snowden as a traitor, can't arrest him. Why? Let's discuss all detailed in this video. So hello escorts, I'm your Sanath. On December 2, 2015, an incident occurred in America. What happened was, on the streets of San Bernardino, California, a couple started shooting indiscriminately at the people there. In this attack, 21 people died and 14 sustained serious injuries, and so this case goes to the court. A judge in the court issued an order. The order stated that the criminals had used an Apple iPhone. So the court ordered that the Apple company must collaborate with the government to develop a method to access users' cameras without their permission, and this is the answer Apple's CEO gave.
Can the government compel Apple to write software that we believe would make hundreds of millions of customers vulnerable around the world?
What he says is that no court can order us to do something like this because this is a matter concerning the privacy of millions of users and no company would ever do this. And when you hear this, you feel a sense of respect for Apple, don't you? Throw that respect in trash because this is exactly what Snowden exposes. If you are wondering who is this Snowden, he is an employee who worked for the NSA. They were not a direct employee. They were working for NSA through a company called Booz Allen Hamilton, and this Edward Snowden was just an ordinary employee working for that company. At 29 years old, Snowden was working as an intelligence specialist for the NSA at this Booz Allen Hamilton company, and it was in 2013 that he got this job. So first, wearing his ID card, he went to this job thinking it was a normal job, but every day as he worked for the NSA on that computer for many hours, he started noticing some strange things. He noticed that NSA was spying on the data of millions of Americans, and these people weren't criminals. They were not terrorists. They are ordinary people like you and me. Snowden was truly shaken to see this American government spying on ordinary people like you and me. But what Snowden does is, every day when he comes to his office, he brings a small pen drive with him and starts copying all the data to that pen drive. He knows one thing, that America is doing something wrong without anyone's knowledge. At the very moment, the US Congress asked a question to James Clapper, the head of NSA. If you are wondering who the US Congress is, in America, they are the one who introduced new laws, amend old ones, and check what the president and the government agencies are doing. That is really the job of the US Congress, and so they decide to pose a very serious and difficult question to the NSA General James Clapper. The question is whether the NSA is truly targeting Americans and spying on their data. And to this, James Clapper gives a superb answer. He says that the NSA doesn't specifically target any Americans to collect their data, and there are two meanings to this. One meaning is that NSA doesn't specifically target any Americans to collect the data, and it's true, right? Because NSA doesn't target any Americans, they target the whole American citizens. So upon hearing his replies, Snowden became even more enraged, because he knows that how can you tell such a blatant lie while being the general at the NSA? Because he sees it. He witnesses with his own eyes right there on his computer that they are collecting the data of millions of Americans. So even then, Snowden became extremely angry with the NSA, questioning why its general had to lie the public like that. Snowden and the copying of the data from the computer to his pen drive determined to somehow expose the NSA duplicity to the Americans, and while he was doing this daily, one day he came across a project, and the name of the project is Prism. This Prism project involves the names of 9 companies that you trust very much. Major companies such as Microsoft, Google, Yahoo, Facebook, Apple, YouTube, Skype, AOL and Paltalk are deeply involved in this secret Prism project. These massive companies have been openly sharing their private user data with the NSA. The NSA has been tracking countless personal things, including your private Google searches, the emails you send, and all the photos you upload onto the Instagram. In some of the worst cases, they have tracked users' private phone calls, opened their cameras, and monitored them. They have carried out these intrusive actions as a direct part of this so-called PRISM project. After this shocking news came to light, all of the major companies are claiming that they have no connection with this PRISM project. They are insisting that they are not even aware that such a project was actually happening. But the thing is, they might not know about this PRISM project being carried out by the American government, but they knowingly provided this data to the American government, and the reason for that is the FISA code. We refer to it as a Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Code. This FISA code does not have a physical presence anywhere. It is in essence a completely secret and a hidden code. So if an NSA agent needs some data from the company, they would first appeal to this FISA code, and this FISA code will send a court order to the specific company and obtain the data. Most important thing is that unlike a regular code, there are no public hearings, or the news of them requesting for the data won't appear in news or media, either because that the code operates secretly. For example, if they ask some data to the Google company, and if the Google company provided the data to the FISA code, then no details will be revealed to the public. So using an NSA FISA code order, they bought that company into the PRISM project without its knowledge. And that is exactly how the NSA has been utilizing billions of pieces of our personal data. The name of another project Snowden discovered in the NSA system was the Upstream project. And in this project, what they were actually doing was tapping into these massive internet cables that run deep under the sea. From America to Europe and from US to Asia, all internet traffic is transferred using these cables through the ocean floor. So whenever these internet cables approach the shore, they use a small instrument to tap all this data. Even before the data reaches the company's server, it ends up in the hands of the NSA. The twist in this is that America had been tapping German Chancellor Angela Merkel's phone since 2002, and after this news came out, Angela Merkel called American President Obama and told him something. She said that we are both friendly nations, aren't we? So despite that, why are you tapping my phone calls? This caused a rift in their relationship. It wasn't just the German Chancellor. Just imagine America even tapped the phone calls of Brazil President Dilma Rousseff. Snowden copied all of this, right? He didn't want to release it randomly on the internet because its credibility would have become a huge question mark for the public. And so he decided to provide all this data to a professional journalist from the Guardian media, which is a very prominent American newspaper. The journalist who came for the Guardian newspaper was named Glenn Greenwald, and he said that America wasn't safe, so suggesting they meet in Hong Kong. Snowden met him there in May 2013, and it was inside a hotel room there that they physically exchanged these documents. Major newspapers like The Guardian and The Washington Post published the news provided by Snowden, and just like that, people are shocked to see another side of America's NSA. These Americans start to erupt in anger, saying, "Hey NSA, instead of monitoring criminals, you are monitoring civilians?" So pressured by this, the American government says that Edward Snowden is a traitor. They state that releasing the data while he was working for the NSA is a massive act of treason, and so the American government decides to arrest Snowden. Snowden is currently living in Hong Kong, okay? He knew that staying in America would cause problems, so he went to Hong Kong that very day. But now, the American government is pressuring the Hong Kong government to arrest Snowden. So Edward Snowden makes the decision to flee towards Ecuador, which is the very same nation that previously granted political asylum to the WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. Snowden has already successfully boarded a commercial flight departing from Hong Kong, and currently the flight is scheduled to travel all the way to Ecuador by way of Russia. However, the moment the aircraft touched down in Russia, the United States government took action and cancelled Snowden's passport. In the aftermath of that, Snowden was left with no country and no identity at all. He ended up trapped inside the Russian airport. He cannot enter Russia. He also cannot travel from Russia to another country because his passport had been cancelled. So after Russia learned about this, based on the concept of enemy of my enemy is my friend, Russia decided to grant asylum in their country to Edward Snowden, who exposed America's wrongdoings. Initially, Russia granted Snowden permission to stay for 3 years, and then in 2002, Russia's citizenship is also granted to Snowden. Compared to America, Russia is even worse, because if America monitors civilians without telling them, these people will do it openly, announcing it. So it is in such a country that this Edward Snowden seeks refuge. It is an undeniable truth that someone from another country can spy on the mobile phones and laptops we use and even the phone calls we make. So guys, if you like the video of Snowden, please don't forget to share this video with your friends and family, and I will see you in another video. Till then, Sanath be signing out. Bye.